Welcome to Vitamin OC. I'm Joanna Weiss.
And I'm Whitney Gomez. Every week we bring you your recommended dose of civics and civilization in Orange County.
And today we are so excited to have Jessica Murray here with us, head coach of girls lacrosse at Corona Del Mar High School, and someone I've known for, I think, the better part of 15 years.
15 years. Yes.
You coach soccer with my husband.
No, back in the day.
Yeah, when they were maybe 5, 6.
3 weeks after we moved here.
You have a long storied career in lacrosse yourself and played at a powerhouse high school in Annapolis, Maryland, and then Division I at UVA at Virginia. You've coached the Bishop School in La Jolla, the University of North Carolina at the Washington, D.C. girls lacrosse equivalent of modern day, and you've been at CDM for about 13 years.
13 years now. Yes.
Welcome to Vitamin OC, and thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel honored, and I've watched a lot of your podcasts, and I'm like, ooh, how am I going to measure up to some of these phenomenal guests that you've had?
I want to share with our listeners that right out of college, you spent 1 year as trader and then made a very good decision to switch gears. You've had a wonderful run at CDM. We have so many friends who've played for you and have loved you as coach. I can't wait to talk to you about everything you've done in your role currently.
Well, thank you.
One of the reasons we wanted to talk with you is we loved our podcast with Dr. Carly Schneider and the role of young women today and how girls are developing, particularly through sports. You are a great person to talk to about the state of girls and how they're doing. You spend more time with high school girls than most people, most of their parents even, I'm sure.
Yes.
And let's start off with your story. You were a lacrosse player as well as a soccer player. And can you tell us about your upbringing and how sports played such a big role in that?
So my dad played at the Coast Guard Academy. He wrestled and played football there. And sports were just always part of our lives. Like my dad was a volunteer coach. My mom was a volunteer coach. And my mom was kind of that age before women were really involved in sports. She always says, gosh, I wish I had more opportunity. Sports were always part of our life. Just a connection in our family. Back then, that was what you did. Your parents signed you up to play sports. And if you didn't play sports, everyone's like, what are you doing? My brother played lacrosse at the Naval Academy. I was pretty much like, I'm going to play soccer. I was going to play soccer. That was my jam. I dabbled in basketball. I was a defensive player and offensive skills were pretty horrific for me. So I always thought I was going to play soccer. And in 6th grade, someone said, why don't you play lacrosse? My mom, who had never seen a lacrosse game in her life, they didn't have any coaches, and my mom volunteered, which I give a lot of credit for. I mean, as females to jump into something, and mom that has a job, a mom that's trying to support her kids, she's like, I'm going to try a new sport. Lacrosse is not an easy sport to learn.
No.
There's a lot of rules. It's not an easy sport to coach. You have to be really coordinated. And my mom stepped up, and I remember my mom with her clipboard and whistle and showing up to a field. And that's where my lacrosse journey started in 6th grade. And I do remember being pretty terrible and just playing it for fun. It's hard to start something new that you know you're not going to be good at. But back then, there was no pressure. No one was videotaping me. My mom had no clue what she was doing, so we kind of did it together. And in high school, I played lacrosse, and I still was really, I'm going to play soccer. I was doing travel soccer. One day, another coach from a team said, you should go try out for this national team. I'm like, okay, I'll go try out for a national team. And it was one of those tryouts that 300 kids showed up, and every hour they blow the whistle, they call the clipboard, and you'd either stay or you'd leave. And I just remember being like, my name got called. Wow, my name got called. And then it kept getting called. And my rides were like, our names didn't get called. And I was like, oh, I got to find a ride because there's no cell phone. My parents didn't come with me. And I ended up making this team, long story short. And it became kind of like, wow, this is my next journey towards something that's really fun and a little bit new. I went to this tournament. It was apparently a big recruiting tournament. And a coach came up to me and said, oh, I can't believe that you're going to go play at, I think the girl was going to play at Princeton. And I'm like, oh no, I'm a sophomore. And she was like, you're a sophomore. So that started my journey playing lacrosse. It was this random take a risk, and it ended up being a really fun experience. And I think at that moment, I needed something new. I loved soccer, but soccer had become a little bit redundant for me. And I felt like I plateaued I didn't see the end goal. And lacrosse was one of those things that was like, this is new. Why not really invest your time? Well, I've come back to coaching because I just believe that give back to where something gave to you. And like you said, I was a trader out of college. I was an econ major. I traded and I thought it was great financially, and personally, it wasn't filling my bucket. And so I started coaching for fun. And then I was like, I really enjoy being around kids. And so I went back and got my master's in education, and I was a counselor at a school. I taught kindergarten, I've taught fifth grade, I've taught sixth grade, I've taught kind of everything. And the constant for me has been coaching. And so now I'm really lucky that I get to coach full time.
What I think is remarkable is that one person saw something in you and said, go try out for this team, and look at the path it set you out on it.
You said around middle school too.
It was middle
I
school.
think all middle school girls need someone to kind of tap them on the shoulder and give them a compliment about something that maybe is unexpected that they'll remember forever.
For sure, because middle school, I mean, no one's like, middle school's magical. Like, no one says that. Everyone's like, oh, middle school.
You survived.
You
That's all you
survived.
tried
And
to
it's
do.
funny because that's what parents do say. We survived it. And by the way, that's okay. Like, it's good to survive it. But like you said, if there's like a glimpse that you can give someone in middle school, and I was lucky enough that someone did that. So like you said, I'm very lucky that that coach believed in me.
Fast forward to UVA and tell us what it was like to be at a Division I program, trying to juggle social, school, sports, nutrition, lift.
Whew.
How did you do that all?
So it's hard. I think my husband had a really different experience, and I'm sorry to bring him into it, at the Naval Academy. Everything is hard there. Like, everything is hard. That's their job. Break you down to be nobody, to build you up as a team. Like, that's what the Naval Academy does. UVA, you arrive, and I remember like calling my stuff to my dorm and thinking this is going to be so great. And UVA is hard. It is hard. It was hard socially, but isn't college hard socially for everybody? Now that I look back, I didn't have any friends going there. And I grew up in Maryland. I thought like, oh, I'd know some people. I literally knew not a single person there. And so that was hard. My roommate ended up being a basketball player. I somehow got switched with a soccer player, and I was supposed to be in the soccer, field hockey, lacrosse dorm, and I ended up being in the basketball track dorm, and it was across campus. So that was weird for me. You didn't have social media. I was like, where are my teammates? What is happening? So that was a little bit funky. Academically, UVA is challenging. But I will say lacrosse, I felt really good. And then I arrived, and everyone is fast, everyone is strong, everyone is driven, and you have to prove yourself. And I remember my coach saying, and it was such an eye-opening experience, this is your job. You show up to earn your way here. And I was newly 18, and your eyes are like, okay. But it was hard. Everything was hard, but I think that's part of what builds up your desire to be better. And that's why college sports and D1 sports, and high school in some ways, kids, you get to hard and you're either wired to be like, I want to find something else that's hard. I'm not willing to fight for this that's hard, and that's okay. Some kids take that journey and they're like, I want to fight academically where it's really hard. I want to fight for a job that's maybe really challenging. But athletics for me was like, okay, this is where I want to measure myself. I was fine in the classroom. And so it was, I keep saying the word, it was hard. It was challenging, but I'm really close with Sam Popham. And I talked to her actually about it this week. And I said, do you remember showing up to practice and Julie Myers blows the whistle and she's like, you guys down there and you guys up there? And I'm like, why am I down here? And my friend Sam was like, you're not on a full ride, are you? And I was like, no, are you? And she's like, no, that's why we're down here. And I was like, wait, what? And I remember thinking, that's varsity and I'm JV. I've never been on the JV side of things in any of my, not for lacrosse and not for soccer ever in high school. I was very fortunate in that I was a varsity soccer player for 4 years. I was a varsity lacrosse player for 4 years. Basketball, a different story, JV through and through. But that was really weird for me. In my mind, I was like, I will not be down here all year. I won't be down here. And I won't be intimidated. Well, I did get intimidated, but I just remember thinking in my mind, I won't be here. But Sam and I still laugh about me asking this question. And she's like, where are you from? How do you not know who those girls are down there? And I'm like, I don't know who anyone is down there. But UVA was amazing. Overall, it was amazing. Amazing 4 years, academically really hard, but really fulfilling. My teammates are still some of my closest. We have a text chain that goes off regularly. What I am finding now is all of our children play each other in tournaments. So I
That's
run
so cool.
into
Oh, fun.
all of my teammates at tournaments. And this summer we were playing a team from Long Island. A little scuffle happened on the field with those Long Island girls, which is totally normal and fine. And our girls were like, what's happening? I'm like, it's fine. You just got to be a little tougher here. We're on the East Coast. And all of a sudden I look over and I'm like, my teammate's the coach of that team. And I yell her name and she looks at me and goes, what are you doing here? I'm
Oh
like,
my
what are you
gosh.
doing? And our girls were playing against each other, which is amazing. Like, that's really special. And I live in California. They live in Long Island. And I think that's kind of the beauty of sports. They bring people together from all walks of life. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
That's great. And we had seen an interview that you did at CDM before where you mentioned that one of the reasons that you played so well at UVA was that you were inspired to do well for the coaches. And can you talk to us a little about your motivation there and how you aim to get that kind of performance out of your own girls on the team?
So a couple things, like, you want to, that's probably my personality. We all have 3 children and all of our children have different, and I was probably the pleaser. That was my personality. I was the pleaser. I'm like, my brother's being naughty, so I better please my parents. He's still naughty. It's fine. But I was like, my brother is the wild man, so I better be the person that coasts and pleases. And I think when I got to college, my coaches were just really amazing women. I remember asking questions about what was your college experience. And Julie Myers had played at UVA and had won a national championship with her sister. And I just thought that was pretty amazing. And when the alumni would come back, she had such a close connection with them because she played with them. And I just remember thinking, like, this woman is leading all these young girls who are clueless to life, and she's not much older than we were at the time. And her alumni base really supported her. And I just was thinking in my mind, I would love to be her one day. Then my other assistant coaches, Heather Dow was one of them. She's an amazing human. She just commanded respect with how she led us. And I think for someone that comes in and just, you're like, wow, I want to please you. Like, you are steady and you believe in us and you're firm. And so part of me is like, in some ways it reminded me of my military dad. Heather Dow may die that I'm saying that about her, but it just reminded me of maybe my dad and how he led and how he raised us. And then we had a lot of assistant coaches. I think that's college assistant coaches. They're young, they're out of college, they're dabbling in if do they want to coach. And so we had great assistant coaches over the years. And I really wanted to please them because I think that's my personality, to be honest with you. And I think if you can get on the good side of anybody by working hard and being genuine in who you are, then they see you. And I know that sounds a little corny, but they see you. And so I wanted to be seen because everything else was really hard. Like, my classes were hard. My social life, I was trying to figure that out. I mean, it just was hard. So I wanted that to be a place of competitive comfort.
It sounds like you had really good support on the coaching staff, and I know you've probably carried some of that over to your own team. We've talked about the fact that you don't allow swearing.
I don't allow swearing. I think as a coach, you have non-negotiables. Julie had a non-negotiable of, like, don't put yourself down and don't use someone else to put yourself down. Jenny Levy at UNC has non-negotiables too. And I think as a coach, my non-negotiable is cussing. And I think that then goes back into my coaching motto is respect. And I played because I respected my coaches, but I also respected myself and I respected my teammates and I respected my opponents and you respect the refs. And cussing in many ways in a public scenario around high school girls, it doesn't teach respect. Because one, like, I don't know how they're raised at home. Like, do they have a very formal upbringing at home that there's no cussing allowed and then I'm dropping it at them? Like, I feel like as young women, if you're allowing them to cuss constantly in front of you, then I'm taking away my own respect for myself because I don't let my family and let my children do that in front of me. So why would I let them? And so I just believe that cussing is one of those things that's a non-negotiable for me. Keep it. If that's what you need to do, then not in front of me. And I'm not going to do it to you, because I think for some kids that's such a shock effect. I laugh because my son will tell me like, "Oh my gosh, someone said this," and I'm like, "Well, that's their shock effect, and that's not how and that's their coaching motto, and that's okay. Like if they're going to do it, but I'm not going to do it." I had a girl last year use the word hell, and I was like, "Oh, we don't say that," and she's like, "But it's not," and I'm like, but it's in that gray area
It's
for
gateway.
some people.
Hell is a gateway.
Yes, it's a gateway. Good. I like that. So I've really stuck to that, because I find that if I allow that to creep in, then why wouldn't I say that to a ref? Like, gosh, don't say that to a ref, but these are people's children. And I don't want someone to cuss at my child. So why would I cuss at them or around them at this point?
I remember when my younger daughter was playing club soccer, and the coach had taught them to always call for the ball when the ball went out of play, so the ref would think it was their ball. And she was like 8. And I was like, that's cheating. If you know the ball went off on you
So
and you're
funny.
putting your hand up. And to me, I just didn't like that aspect of that team's culture. So what else are you inculcating with the team to create a positive team culture?
It's so funny you say that, because like it drives me crazy, and it drives my husband. He would be mad at me, but a lot of times I'll be like, "That was the right call. Like that's the right call," and I'll say that to the ref, and the girls would be like, and I'm like, "But that's the right call. Like
Yeah.
they're doing their best." And I'm really against a palms up culture. So yours was the hand, like even though they know it went off of them, they're like, "No, but it's mine." Palms up is like, you don't like the refs, you palms up. Like what?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I am like, do not palms up. If I see you palms up, I'm going to bring you over and be like, "Does that make you look good?" No, it doesn't make you look good. You're questioning someone of authority, and there's a way to go about that. So don't palms up. But to take advantage. So you were saying you do want your girls to play to their advantage. Like you do. Like that soccer coach, that was kind of what he was doing. Girls Lacrosse is wild in their rules, and like you have a whistle, but it doesn't mean you stop, but it means they're acknowledging your advantage. I always do say, like, play to your advantage. Like if you're getting hit, don't stop and palms up. Play to your advantage. Like the ref's going to blow a whistle. If the girl doesn't slow down, then stop your feet and wait for the ref to reset it. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. I don't coach to that. I mean, there's plenty of coaches that do that. It's like that fine line.
When we're talking about sportsmanship and the culture of sports, parents have influenced sports these days quite a bit at the high school level. Can you tell us a little bit about how you deal with parents of the girls, of opponents, and maybe share some techniques that you use to kind of manage any parent issues that arise?
For sure. I think that one statement needs to be, parents inherently are really good. There's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, which feel like 10 at times. If those 1, 2, 3, or 4 get out of hand, then it can be bigger on the sideline, or it could be bigger in your program. I feel really lucky. I have great parents that really support our program, but I'm also really firm with boundaries. And in my 20s, I was not. As I've gotten older, I've had to be. I have 3 children. I have a husband. Like boundaries are important, and cool off period. I have a 24-hour, like I'm not going to respond within 24 hours. And I tell the parents up front, like, if you write me, 1, give me 24 hours, because I might need to process what I want to write. And 2, when I leave the field at 9:00 at night, I've now not been with my family since probably 2:00 in the afternoon. So I need to pour into them a little bit, and I need to take a step back. I also have a policy that I never communicate to a parent without a child. An athletic director gave me this advice, and it has been the single best advice I've ever received. So if you're a parent and you're unhappy and you email me, your child will be included on my response. And they need to know that, and it's going to have what they wrote me, unless there is, I mean, we deal with a lot of mental health, physical, like that's a
Right.
gray area. But whenever a parent says my daughter would be dying if she knew I was writing this to you, then I'm like, you probably shouldn't be writing it
Totally.
to me. And also, if a parent is really upset, I think you need to include the child in it, because I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. My children come home with their version. And as a parent, like, you have to acknowledge that's their feelings. Like, you came home really upset from a game, or you came home from a practice and you felt disrespected. You have to be empathetic as a parent. And sometimes what our kids tell you really fire you up, right? Like, you get fired up. And I'm a firm believer in, like, as a parent too, sit on it for 24 hours. See how the next day goes for your kid. If your kid wakes up being like, I don't want to go to practice, I'm dreading this, this is the worst, then maybe it is something that you and your child together have to come to the coach about. But I highly encourage player contact coach first, because they need to learn how to advocate. They need to be able to say to the coach, like, I feel like you're not playing me. It always makes me sad when a player says, I feel like you don't like me, because I love every one of those kids. That makes me sad. But you know what? I need to hear that, because I need to acknowledge as a coach, like, wow, you think I don't like you. And like, I need to be better to make sure that you know that that is not how I feel. But my number one goal is parents, players, we are a triangle and we have to all work together. So if it's something big that a parent wants to write me about, then it's going to be a meeting with all of us.
Our daughter played lacrosse in high school. We were at an away game and the parents on the other side kept arguing with the refs and they got themselves penalties. And the coaches had to finally just go address the crowd.
So if the sidelines get a yellow card, I have to physically remove one player from the field.
Right.
Physically removed. I've always said to the refs, if you are feeling this way, let me go across and address the parents. And so then I walk across, and there's always some crazies, but I walk across and I said, listen, like, we are here to support the kids. If you are negatively saying something, then I have to choose a child from the field to sit. And my job is to focus on these kids, and my job is not to focus on you as parents. And if I know it is you, then your child will be the one that comes off. My own parents sit in those stands, and I feel like at times I hear my dad. I'm like, I hear you, Dad. Stop complaining. But
we all hear our
yes.
dads.
I'm actually happy that they make me take a player off the field if a parent's being disrespectful, because then, like, parents,
It's a good
you're
lesson.
seeing directly how negativity affects these players. Our one job is to be positive. Our job isn't to choose refs. Our job isn't to harass other girls from the other team. If you don't like a call, pinch yourself on your leg. Like, pinch yourself and just move on. And it's hard. It's hard. Refs are human, but so are all these girls.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned mental health. I attended a lecture recently from a dean of a graduate school, and she shared that 40% of their students have an official mental health diagnosis, which I just was bowled over by. So in your 13 years at CDM, what have you seen change? Is that one of the phenomenon that you've experienced?
For sure. For sure. I don't know what to attribute it to. It's like my mom brain goes one way, my coach brain goes another. I definitely think cell phones, social media, that creates extra stress. It does as parents. It does as a coach. I do think mental health, but I also think we talk about it more. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to acknowledge. I, in my years, have had players pull me aside. Patrick's Purpose is something that CDM has. Emily Turner coached for me for many years. Emily Turner's brother who died by suicide, and Patrick. And so it was great having her on staff. Her family is amazing. Our team does Patrick's Purpose walk every year. So I think it's out there more that we talk about it. So sometimes when you talk about stuff more, you hear more about it and kids feel more comfortable.
Jessica, could you talk? I know we know what that is, but for viewers or listeners who might not know who Patrick was, if you could explain a little bit about his death by suicide.
For sure. So Patrick Turner was a student at CDM. He was the youngest of 4 siblings of the Turner family, very involved in CDM's community. Patrick was a baseball player, and Patrick died by suicide. It really rocked the community. He was a really involved child in CDM. He was outwardly very joyful. And so it came by a shock, and his family and his parents have really stepped up in that mental health void, and they have come to CDM. They have sponsored teams at CDM. They speak to our community. They came and spoke, and a girl raised her hand and said, well, what do you do if you feel that you have a friend? This girl came to me 3 days later, and she was like, I have a friend that I'm really worried about. And Coach Mix, who is on campus, he's the boys lacrosse coach, is very close with the Turner family as well. And we got this girl help. And I believe if you can save one other person, and that's why the Turners are doing this, because they want to help children that were struggling like Patrick was struggling. So that's the impetus behind their foundation. And they give scholarships to children that are not on the traditional path, that aren't going to a 4-year college, that want to go to a trade school. And I love seeing something that's been so tragic for their family to be able to turn around and create knowledge, create safety, and create opportunities for other children.
That's beautiful. That's really special.
It really is.
If we can shift for a moment to something that you might be spending a lot of your time on these days is recruiting. So there's been a lot of change in the NIA rules regarding this and the transfer portal. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're advising your players on the new rules?
Wow. They are ever changing. And to be honest with you, I have to ask my husband because I think that's what he wakes up and reads all this sports stuff. And I'm like, what's happening today? And what's interesting is every sport, you get recruited from a different venue. And for girls lacrosse, you really get recruited out of club. If I have a player that wants to play college lacrosse, I always say, are you playing club? Which is kind of hard, but like you have to play club. That's where you're getting recruited. For other sports, like football, you're not getting recruited out of club. You can't play tackle football 12 months of the year. So you're getting recruited directly out of your relationships of high school. Whereas girls lacrosse, you're getting recruited out of club. I have fielded many questions for those girls. And what club do you play for? What tournaments are you attending? Who helps you in your club program get recruited? Do you have a recruiting coordinator? Where have girls in your club team gone and played? Like the trajectory of who went before you really matters. I field questions if college coaches reach out to me. And so that's where it becomes interesting because college coaches go to their club, but who do high school players spend majority of their time with? Their high school coaches. But I don't know how college coaches handle the portal. It's wild.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite things about college lacrosse are the culture of my team. And I don't know how, as a college coach, if you have kids coming in and out,
Right.
how you build that culture. Or is your culture so strong with the girls that stay that when the girls come in, they buy in right away? And how do you build a culture that's so strong that when girls that they adore and love leave for a better or different opportunity? And so I don't know how you navigate that. The good thing is I don't think NIL has hit women's lacrosse yet. Will it? It probably will. I think with all the social media stuff out there, kids are smart, they're savvy, and they want to make money.
We had a conversation with a college counselor a couple of years ago, and her position was, if you're not going to play in college, it's not worth your time to play sports in high school. And I just, jaw on the floor, really? Because to me, it adds so much to a high school experience.
Oh my gosh.
And the kids take so much away. So you've talked about respect, and we've heard a little bit about what you've taken away. What do you hope your players take from their high school experience playing for you?
That they're part of something bigger than themselves. And you don't have to be the superstar to feel appreciated and loved and wanted and part of something. Because that just makes me so sad that they said that. Because look at my program. I have 70 girls. I do not have 70 D1, D2, D3 athletes. I have 70 amazing girls that are there for their own reasons. And who am I to choose why they're there? But when they leave, I want them to say, I made some great friends. I worked hard. And in the end, like, that was fun. That was fun. Why did I play it? Because that was fun. And I hope, and like, I coach because lacrosse gave me so much. And did it give me a scholarship? Sure. Am I now making pennies on the hour? Sure. But that's not why I started playing sports. I didn't start sports, and that's what's changed. I didn't start playing sports in 6th grade because that's what I wanted. I was going to play college lacrosse. I started playing sports because why not? And I do think that has changed in the landscape of kids look at sports as a ticket instead of an adventure that's going to take them somewhere. And if it takes you to play college sports, great. And if it's an adventure to figure out who you are, even better.
That's some great advice. We're so grateful for you for joining us today. You have some great wisdom for parents and girls and young people. And it's been wonderful to have your perspective and your leadership and your role modeling for our community. So thanks for all you do.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Great to talk to you. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us for your recommended dose of civics and civilization in Orange County.
We'll see you next time.